So welcome again to our Google Data Studio. We're on session 4 now, adding user and data filters. So we have data that we've created and a report that we've created, and now we want to go in and be able to fine tune it or allow our users to just select certain students. So let's take a look at that. Going back to our report called Workshop, and remember it's saving as we go. It's a Google environment, don't forget, so it automatically saves. So here we have the file that we've been working on. We could put little things in here like headers and such, so you could put in some text and adjust colors. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I'm sure folks can figure that out fairly simply. Add your headers, make everything look a lot prettier than what I've done here, but you get the idea. So this could be a lot bigger, for example, and color it and so on, and add little elements to it. One of the things you might want to do even more so is allow your users to do some editing or looking at different data depending on what they select. So let me give you a for instance. So for example here, we're looking at the data of all students in the 6th through 12th grade. I might want to fine tune this and say, could you just show me special needs students, for example, and how they performed, or how many special needs students we have in each grade level? Well, if you look at our data here, we don't see that field, but it was in the original demographics. So let's take a look at our blend. And if you'll notice in our demographics file here on the left, we don't have special education added. So let's add it in here. Make sure that any field that you want is available to you. And sometimes it'll put it in the wrong spot. So you just click it and drag it and bring it up. All right. So these are the fields that will be available to you from your blend. So I have special ed, I have gender, I have grade level, last name, oops, and first name, we also have in 504 status. Okay, so that's enough for now. Let's save that. And let's close. So now we're going to go up and we're going to insert what's called a filter control. And when I double click on it, it'll bring it in, and it always assumes which field I want in my filter control. And I really don't want first name as my filter control. But I'm going to go and I'm going to say that I would like to know how many students are, let's just start with basic gender. And remove that metric. And you can adjust the size and the quality of the style and that type of thing. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller here. But if I have just my gender and I go into my view mode and I select, it'll just allow me to select male or female. So what it does is it takes the data elements that are contained within that filter and allows you to select them on or off. So now we're just looking at male. And now we're just looking at female. And you can do that for any of your controls here. And reset the action so that it goes back the way it was. And go back to edit. So remember we were talking about inserting a control. Oops, sorry, I went to the wrong spot. My apologies. Let me go back. Get back in there. Like most people, I tend to click around a bit. So let's get back into our workshop, back into Google's Data Studio. Remember, it's saving as I'm going. Back into edit mode. And I want to select another, and I went to resource instead of insert. That was my problem. Another filter control. And again, I can have multiple filter controls here. I'm not limited to one. And I can go and select what I want my filter control to be. So let's take a look. Here's our special needs filter control. And let's remove that. And I don't particularly like the language of SPED, so I'm going to change that to IEP. And I might also add one more. Let's go back to filter control and add one more here. And this one is going to be for my 504 students. Again, it adds extra pieces that I don't need. And let's just go into view now. And you can see now that these are my various data elements in 504, so I can look at just at my students who are 504 students. And this is just a small data sample, so I only have 2 students who have 504s in this data sample. I can look at my students who are special needs, and so on. So it gives you a way to slice and dice data without having to make customized reports for your end users. Nice way to do it. The other thing that you can do with your data, I'm going to look at my blend here. I could go down here, and let's say I just want my data to be let me try to get this out of the way here. Sorry. I can add a filter here. So let's say, for example, I only want to include something from my data elements. So I'm going to say I only want to include, and I'm looking for my grade levels. So I only want to include students who are, see, and I see a problem there. I want to include certain students from my grade level, but it happens to be an alphanumeric. So in order to change it, if I wanted to do real grade levels, I would have to change that to a number. So let's go do that. I'm going to demographics. I'm going to take a look at all my fields, and I'm going to change my grade level to numeric. Okay. Now, having done that, going back to my workshop, I have to start this again. So let's just exit that. And we'll go select grade level now down in my filter. So I'm going to include where my grade level is greater than 9th grade. Make sure that's greater than or equal to. So I'm including all my high schoolers because I start in 9th grade, and then I click Save, and then I close. And I must have others changes. Click Cancel. Okay, I had some other things open here, so let's just do that. There we go. And now on my chart, I'm just looking at grades 9 through 12 because I created a filter in my blended data set that only looks at grade level 9 through 12. And then in addition, my end user could go in and simply select what they want to select. So by putting in some filter controls, I can really help with the data and who sees what and how it becomes more meaningful for my users. I hope this was helpful, and join us for the next session.